Locus data. Is there any locus data? Well, if you're beginning your excavation, there probably isn't. But as you continue to remove soil from your locus, you're going to have information that needs to be filled in. There's a lot of information that needs to be filled into on a locus sheet like the one that you see here. If you look on the left-hand side, you're going to see a series of buttons. These are the same buttons that are found on almost every page that help you navigate between each one of the pottery pail tags. You can go through, excuse me, not pottery pail tag, each of the different types of loci. We're going to go back to the Earth locus. We're going to touch the locus data. Then you're going to see another list, which is 3, description. Now you'll need to refer to your dig manual to know exactly what all of these things are for. All I'm going to do is going to share with you what the buttons do and how to use them and how to navigate the locus data. Because there's quite a lot of locus data that you're going to need to be put in. This is the main information about this locus. So here you can see the very first thing it's asking you for is a Munsell number. You tap on the Munsell number and you need to fill in the Munsell number. And I'm going to just make one up. We're going to go, let's see, 5Y, and it's capital, this is important, capital Y, capital R, space, 5/2. Okay, now I can't exactly remember what that color is, but I'm going to assume that it's reddish brown. So we're going to be a capital R, reddish, space, small letter BRWN, brown. This is the general method for filling out this information. A capital, a space, and then a small letter. However, check with your field supervisor whether or not this works for you. Generally, this is the method that we usually choose. Okay, tap outside the box and notice that the red has gone away. The red that you see always refers to something that has been left out, something that is important that needs to be filled in. So in this case, we need to determine how many angulars, and when I click on the angulars, it gives me a totals in increments of 10%, 0 to 100%. We're going to say that as far as angulars are concerned, there's about 10% angular. We're going to go to the next one, and we're going to say they're 90% subangular. And notice what happens when I tap outside the box, the red has all gone away. That's because the total for angular and subangular equals 100%. If, and I'm going to change this now to 20%, it doesn't equal, it means that you still need to add more information. And it's going to say, warning, it must equal 100%. Do not leave this blank. You still have 30%, or you've only done 30% so far. That's your total. That's what the 30 is. You need to do some more. So let's say that there are sub-rounds, and everything here now is we're going to say there are 70% sub-round. Again, refer to your dig manual to understand what this terminology means. But if you really want a quick way, just click here and on the info dot, and the info dot will tell you what this information, what is angular, what is filled in here. Also, you may have somebody who's specifically designated on certain projects. They have somebody who goes around and does all your soil. If so, that's really great. Let's go back to soil texture and add some information. Notice so many places that we have, they have drop-down menus. So we're going to click on the drop-down menu and go from there. There is a button there that says old texture information. This is for legacy locus sheets, particularly those that pre-1992 or I guess pre-2000. That's for some of the older projects, and it has other information. We don't use that anymore. We streamline the process. Okay, the other thing here that's important you have to put in is your length. Of course, what is the length of this? And what we decided to do in this excavation, we're just going to do a strip. We're going to do a strip. We're going to do, this is a 5x5, that's right. So we're going to do a 5x5, 5 meters by 5 meters, like so. And what's the depth? In this case, we're going to go down approximately 10 centimeters. Now our depth is going to vary a little, so we're going to say that it varies between a point, and this is in meters, so you got to go 0.05 and tap there, 0.1. You don't have to put the 0, and you get a 10 centimeters. So it's 5 to 10 centimeters deep. So that is our first page. Now let's take a look at some of how the navigation works. There are several ways to navigate between the information that you have in the locus data. First, on the left-hand side, you'll see that you have a list. If you tap the list, the buttons on the list, it actually will cause it to slide to that information. You see I'm sliding between the information from one thing to the next. Okay? Drawings, interpretation. Some of these you will not have anything that you'll need to put into them. Go back to color and so on. So that's that on the left-hand side. Another way to do that is use the arrow. If you click the arrow on the upper, it keeps going to the right. You click the arrow, goes to the left until you come to the one that you're working on next, following along in your dig manual. Another way to do this is to swipe. You'll notice at the bottom there are these little dots. One is black, that's the one that you're on, the page descriptions, number 3. And then the gray ones are ones you can slide to. So I'm going to swipe with my finger to the right and then swipe with my finger to the left. Notice that the little dots at the bottom change from black to gray or gray to black. I'm going to swap. So now that the black dot is on the second page, and now I'm going to swap. The black dot is on the third page, and so on. I can swap back and forth, back and forth. So that's one way. We have 3 methods because not everybody is very good at swiping, or sometimes you may have dirt on your finger, or your fingers just don't navigate very well with the swipe. So we have buttons, arrows, and we have this list which will take you to all of the thing that you're looking for, strategic, color, etc. So let's take a look at a few more pages if there's anything special. At the bottom in the lower right hand corner, this is the architectural supplement sheet. When it comes time for you to do a surface, perhaps you're going to do a surface. It's going to ask you what type. Is it a beaten earth? Is it a lime? Is it a plaster? Is it a gnar? In this case, let's say that this is a plastered surface. Wow, we came down on a plastered surface in the first locus. That's amazing. Okay, so in some cases, if you click here, it'll tell you what this is for. Gives you an information about what the supplement sheet is for. When you tap the supplement sheet, it brings this button up. This is your information that has to do with architectural information that may be found in an Earth locus. So in this Earth locus, if you found an architectural feature or anything that's related that's architectural, then you'll fill out this information and you'll go through adding, what is it made out of? Is it limestone? It's basalt. That's the material. You'll see there's mortar. If we tap the tab, it gives me facing. You can see tooling. You can see dressing. All this stuff you'll need to look up and find it in your dig manual. Fill out all this information. Here it says construction. Was it a boulder and chink? How many courses? By tapping the courses. Preservation, what's the preservation? And so on. So all that information needs to be filled out if you find something that is architectural within your Earth locus. To return, you tap on that little arrow and it'll bring out another button which is for returning. So we'll click there and it's going to bring us back to where we were, or nearly where we are. Always take you back to the information locus information page. So that's your architectural locus. I'm going to move now by using the arrows at the top. Again, there are info buttons that should help you figure out what things do if you can't get to the button that you need to get to the dig manual. Now our next information that you need to fill out is the stratigraphy. So here is our stratigraphy. Now, so what is this under? Please do not put like 0 or sky or anything in here if it's your first. But in this one, we are actually under something. We are underneath the cleanup locus. Cleanup loci are usually numbered with alphabetically, and you don't need to put that in here. But let's suppose that we're going to dig another locus. You're going to have to come back here and say that, oh, 1 is over 2. Okay? 1 is over 2, and then let's say that we dug next to it. 3 was next to 1. So we dug 1, we did our 1, then we dug 2. Well, it can't be equal to, because it's a 5 by 5. But say it's over 2 and it's over 3. So we're going to do over 2 and over 3, like so. So you'll need to, again, touch the info dot to find out what that refers to, or go to your dig manual. And we're going to say, oh, look, it's going to seal against. Let's have it seal against a wall, an architectural feature. That is going to be locus number 4. That's our architectural locus. Okay? So here we have, it's over 2 and 3, and it is sealing against number 4. That would mean we had a wall above ground, but we don't, so we're going to take that out. What I want you to notice is that as you are filling this information, a little soil matrix chart is appearing in the box on the right-hand side. What it's showing you is that your locus number 1 is over locus 2 and locus 3. Now there is a limit to how many things will be here. It's based upon the size, but we can put up to, I think, about 5, maybe even 6 that 1 could be over if you have that many loci which are under 1. But it gives you sort of a stratigraphic look of what could be there. So I'm just going to, for the sake of argument, add the number 0 so you can see what it looks like when there's something above it. So you can see here's something above. I'm going to say it's over here. I'm going to say it's contiguous with 5. And I'm just building a matrix, seals against 6. I'm going to put in, it's cut by, let's say cut by 9. So as you fill in, some of that information will actually show up here. So here you can see seals against, has this arrow, and usually since you're sealing against a wall or something like that, you can see that that arrow is there to show that it seals against. So this just gives you an architectural model of the soil matrix. I'm going to go through and take them out so that they don't end up in this record. Even though this is sample data, we want to add each of the loci individually. But you can see here, there is no such thing as a 0, so don't put that in there. So here you can see, I have the locus 1 is over 2, which is over 3. Okay, so next, we have the place where you put in information that's related to the geophys information, or geospatial, not geophys, geospatial information. Geospatial refers to where are you going to take your geospatial points. That is, where are you going to go, and you're going to measure and say, okay, I'm going to go to this place in the square and I'm going to take an elevation. Usually we're going to, for something that's a 5 by 5, we're going to do it in 7. So in 7 we're going to say at the top, and I'm just going to make up numbers, 888, 11, like so. Okay, we don't have a bottom yet because we haven't finished. We're also going to do it in 11. Okay, we're going to do 888. And everything here is pretty level, so that's 1, 2. Okay. I think I did something wrong. Let me try it again. There it is. Now I've added some things that shouldn't be there, but let me go back. So 11 goes in here. You can see we're going to go 888.11. Now I didn't tap outside of the box like I was supposed to. We're going to do 31, which is going to be 888.2. So just went up a little bit over there. And then we're going to do 35. Location number 35. We're going to put in 888.15. We're going to change that to 35. And tap outside of the box. And notice that in the grid on the right hand side, it shows you where all of the location information was taken. It tells you the height, it tells you the elevation of all of the tops. You will come back after it's been removed and you're going to add the bottoms, because we need to know both the top and the bottom in order to create a three-dimensional geospatial reference. In this case, you can see that in 7, let's say that I came back and we say we dug down about 10, 12 centimeters. So we're going to say that this was 888.0. So that was our bottom. And we wanted to make this nice and clean all the way across. So we're going to 888 point, and I'm going to do 00. So it looks nicer to me. And this one here, we're going to go 888.05. We took a little more soil off there. We're going to go 888.05 as well, tapping outside of the box. Now this gives us a nice geospatial reference, and the iPad or the database is keeping track of all of that information. Now what type is this? So you type on here and it says, okay, what type is? Well, this was done with GPS. If you don't have GPS, then you do what's called transit. That is where you have a mark which is placed on a rock somewhere. That's your benchmark. Using a string, you take it all the way across, keeping it level with the line level, and then you measure down from that string. That gives you your elevation. But we're going to do ours with GPS. We want to keep track of what that is, particularly if we want to see if there's any errors that might be creeping in. So you can, now I have 4 points which have been measured, and now we're going to add one more. We're going to add one more point. I hit the wrong button. Let's go 7. Let's put 7 back. Okay, then we're going to go down here. We're going to add one more point in the blank spot. 21, which is 888.10. It dipped just a little, and we went to 888.00. And that's our geospatial information for this particular locus. Now the last thing that we do when we're putting in geospatial information is we put in the easterly and the northerly, or the northerly and easterly. If you have GPS coordinates, then you need to include the east and north. Now this is based upon either longitude and latitude, or Palestinian grid, or whatever your GPS, whoever is giving you GPS coordinates, they will tell you what the east and the north coordinates are. So let's just assume that we're just going to make up something 125, 365, and we're going to say that this one is 265, 398. So that's very similar to what's known as the Palestinian grid. If you're using another type of system, then you would put that information in here. But generally there is an east line and a north line, which is our X and Y axis, and then our Z axis is the top and the bottom. So if you're not doing a GPS, then you would change this to transit. So let's suppose that we didn't have GPS coordinates. Since I haven't put any GPS coordinates here, I will go through and change these all to transits, like so. And that just means that these coordinates were not taken using a GPS coordinate. Now generally speaking, if your project does not have either a total station or a theodolite or some type of device for giving you precise three-dimensional positioning, X, Y, and Z axis, then you're using a transit. That is, that you have used that elevation that is based upon a string that's attached, that's held on a stone or some sort of semi-permanent position, then a line level which levels out the line, and then you measure down. That would be the transit. So that's how you do your geospatial information. And now it's time for us to look at some of the other features that are here. If we swipe again, we're going to see that the pottery information that we put in previously is now shown up here on the pottery page. If we're going to have bone information, if somebody does a bone reading, you go one more page over and you'll find that that's where the bone is. Or you can just go and select pottery or select bone, and you put your bone information. If you are finished with this locus and it's time to fill in interpretive information, what was the function, what is your stratigraphic interpretation, was this a clean locus, what period do you think this is, what phase, what stratum, here you can see that under number 10. Now this concludes everything that you should need to know for locus data. We will continue to look at artifacts and staff and photos, top plans and top-down photos in our next videos.